was PdotO and PdotO.
Get to the summit and get the guap. Niggas this week gotta do a lot. Cut all the brand. What's good, what's popping, family? This is the one and only most successful, the village boy popping, the one and only Hollywood star. This is really such an awesome time that we having right with the legendary Silasbeats. He really got to produce for the likes of MT, the likes of Cassper Nyovest, Tshego, PdotO, Blaklez, Zagwe, to mention a few. It's really such an awesome time that we to be having right here with him. But before we really get to it, make sure that you do click the like and also the subscribe button.
What's up, man? What's up? What's good? What's good? What's good?
I'm gonna say, good. It's really such an honor to have you right on Kidsoul SA. You know, for producing hits for the likes of PdotO, Cassper Nyovest, Toya Delazy, and many more. So can you really tell people what inspired you to do music?
Man, music really was something that I started like at a really, really young age.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is a funny story. My mother told, it was my dad who told me. I'd sit in the toilet, right? And I'd beatbox. I was just sitting, it wasn't, obviously I wasn't beatbox, I was just making noises with my mouth. But that's the first time they were kind of like, something's up here.
Yeah.
And then I think it was in second grade, it was, I forget now, in second grade, I didn't really want to be in class, right? So there was a teacher that walked in and was like, whoever wants to play the violin, come with me now. And I was like, I have no idea what the hell the violin is.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be here right now. So I got up and we went through for like trials, where the teacher like sat there at the piano, was like, please sing these notes.
Yeah.
Apparently I got them all right, and he was like,
What?
okay, yeah. He's like, you guys. He was basically trying to figure out who was tone deaf and who wasn't, right? So he set us all aside. He was like, okay, you guys go back to class. And then for the rest, he was like, okay, cool, violin. Pull out a violin, and then we started. And from there, it's just been a case of, messing around with software here and there, dabbling around, EJ, Reason, Fruity. You know how the story is, man. So
We'd really get to tell that you got to love music from a really young age.
I've been making music since 2007, right? Actually, even before that. But like where I actually started to formalize what I was doing was in 2015. So my parents had a back room. And there was like a whole lot of stuff in that back room.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, hey, man. Because I was busy making, like I was working from my bedroom, right? I had the bed there. You know how it always is, bedroom studio. I had the bed there. I had the table, the monitors, and my laptop, and I'd work from there.
Yeah.
So at some point I looked at that room and I'm like, hey, man, if I can manage to get the space here, I could turn this into my studio. It's just a back room. And then I can start bringing people in to record, because up to that point I hadn't brought anyone up to record before. So I went there. I remember I spent a whole weekend just clearing everything out of there, packing things away, finding new places for things. I'd pack things neatly, chuck old stuff out. And then I had a space. I was able to, just slowly but surely, I got a table, one thing at a time, a chair, and then a carpet, and then, eventually build a studio.
That's really great. So you tell people, when did you get to meet Toya Delazy?
I met Toya Delazy in 2019. No, I'm lying. Was it 2019? I think it was either 2018 or 2019, right?
Yeah.
Obviously everyone knows Toya Delazy, she's
she's
paved the way for pop,
A-Reece,
right?
Yeah.
So
she's one of those A-Reece.
so I remember I was on social media the one day and I got a follow from Toya Delazy, and I was like, hey, it was on Twitter. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And obviously you want to make sure it's legitimate, right?
Aware.
So I went and I checked. I was like, okay, I saw the blue tick. I was like, okay, this must be her. So I reached out. I'm like, yo, I like your music, I like what you've done for pop in SA. I like that your sound. You see, her sound is very it's
you
always
sent a DM.
left field. Yeah, I sent a DM.
It's
the same way I met P. Yeah. So so with Toya, it was a case of we started speaking via DM. I actually started sending beats. I was like, let me make you beats. I started sending beats. She didn't like any of them. What she did is she went to my beat store. And she scrolled right to the bottom to a beat I made in 2000, and it must have been 2009-10 side.
What?
Yeah, and she was like, that one. I was like, okay.
Is that the beat for Greatest?
Yeah, that's the beat.
Yeah.
So you hear the synths and stuff. That's old stuff, man. I was doing that long ago. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool that a beat, I had no idea that a beat from way back then was going to do what it did.
Make much impact.
Exactly.
That's really something awesome. And also for PdotO, how did you get to meet him?
Oh man, P was also, like I said, it was also a DM. That was via Facebook. PdotO was a funny story actually. I was at varsity. I was in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and people, after supper, people would go to the computer labs, and I was no different. I'd go to the computer labs and just go click around. People were playing games on Facebook back when people used to do that and whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking I need to, text people and send emails and send beats out, right? Cool. Fast forward a couple of weeks, now I'm on vacation. So I vacationed at my parents' home, which was in East London, in the Eastern Cape, right?
Okay.
So at that time, I was like driving around, just messing around. I was on holiday, and I heard a track come on the radio. It was "I Tried" by PdotO. I didn't know this PdotO. I just remember I was listening to, I think it's called Ground Zero, a show at True FM.
Yeah.
And the host was actually my production partner's older brother. So I had him on text. So I was like, yo, who is this guy? Who's this guy that sounds like, an American rap? It's actually, this is PdotO. Actually, he's from the Eastern Cape. Actually,
in East London.
East London.
Damn.
So I was like, wait, hold on. So, I didn't think much of it, but I was like, when I get back to Cape Town, I'm going to go cook up some beats, and I'm going to send them through. So I sent them through, and he was like, I think 2 days after I sent it, I actually I've still got the DMs. He was like, yo, man, Jay Lawless and I just recorded to one of your beats. We're actually in studio at the moment. Let me send it through. He sent it through, and I was like, I have no idea what the heck just happened. It was crazy. I heard the track, and I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself.
It was really iconic.
It was.
So you've been circulating around East London, Cape Town, and also Jozi.
Yeah.
You've been circulating around Xhosa people. How many languages can you really get to speak? What?
I can only speak one.
Only one?
I was born in Lesotho.
Yeah.
At Marija Hospital. My parents are Ugandan.
Yeah.
Right? They came from Uganda to Lesotho. I was born there. I spent a bit of time in Esbeleni, just outside of Queenstown.
Yeah, I know the place.
So, yeah, you know that place. Yeah. So I was there until about 5. So at that point, I knew fluent Xhosa.
Yeah.
At that point, my dad was like, yo, we need to move. We moved to East London.
Yeah.
The crowd changes, obviously. And I'll go to Model C school. I lose everything.
What?
I lost everything. Just like in school. Like in school, I learned Afrikaans. I was fluent. I was able to speak Afrikaans. For the life of me, I cannot speak Afrikaans.
Right now, you can't.
Well, I can hear things here and there, but it's funny. I don't know. Like, I don't know whether there's just, all I do is just remember music. I can remember music. I can remember a tone perfectly. I can remember a melody. I'll hum a melody from any track. I'll be able to recreate it here. But for some reason, my wife, she's Sotho.
What?
Like, I hear these things. I hear this stuff. And I'm just like, I obviously understand Luganda, which is my parents' it's their home language. But even at home, they'll speak to me in Luganda. I'll try, but I communicate very slowly in that language. So what will tend to happen, you know how we do it. We mix languages. In any African language, we'll mix a little bit here and there. But yeah, dude, I speak English. I speak it well. I feel like if there is one language I speak well, it's English. The rest is just like a little bit here, a little bit there, and so.
And somehow thought you know how to speak a whole lot of languages.
Nah.
Because you got to circulate. You've been to Cape Town. Cape Town is really such an awesome place, and I've been there.
Yeah.
They speak a whole lot of languages: Xhosa, Afrikaans, also Sotho. Also some Sotho people around there. So when did you decide that you want to move to Johannesburg?
In final year of varsity.
When was that?
Hey man, my age. 2010, 2011. In 2010, I sort of had this. I was in third year. I remember I had this idea that I was like, look, if I'm gonna do anything with this music thing, let me go to Joburg and see what's going on. I felt like at the time in Cape Town, I was struggling to push out of my varsity circle. I had the same people. Those guys were dope. The ones we were working with, we were holding shows and stuff. But I was like, I need to get out. And then that's when I decided, look, Joburg, it's probably going to be the easiest place. Also, I'd already made the connection with PdotO. I was like, if I'm able to DM someone from Cape Town and contact them and send them music and create music,
obviously you can make
how
some
much
moves.
more can I do if I'm actually physically here? So
that's really great. That's really awesome. So currently on the hip hop scene, can you tell me who's your favorite artist?
At the moment it's tough. It's a very tough one. Had you asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have had an answer. But right now, I don't have one. I don't have one. I just feel like at the moment, I'm listening to a lot of hip hop. A lot of it I don't. Let me say that there's some of it I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like I can appreciate. I'm just like, I don't really understand what's going on. But obviously, it's my opinion, right? Whatever.
That's your own opinion.
But just in terms of the sound and just how because I'm gonna take it to a more broader aspect of just talking about the industry in general. It's very open at the moment, and I don't really have one person that I will go grab their music every time it comes out, every time they drop. I guess the only real people I listen to at the moment is like old tracks, really old tracks of my own, as well as international tracks and South African tracks. But then also obviously the artists that are in here. I'm not a current music kind of guy.
I really get that.
Yeah.
So besides from the hip hop scene, which other is your favorite genre? Just apart from hip hop.
Man, future bass.
What's that?
You never heard of future bass?
Nah,
Few people have
not
heard
even once.
Few people have heard of future bass. Future bass is a mashup. If you take EDM, like the electronic elements of pop, right?
Yeah.
And you take the technicality of, I guess you can say pop as well. I'll just round it off and say pop. But then it's got hip hop drums to it. So you have a very, very technical, very clean sort of sounding hip hop / pop.
Yeah.
Obviously sometimes it doesn't sound so clean, but yeah, dude, you should definitely try and I mean that's why I like it. There's elements of the grunginess of hip hop where I'm able to, if you want to sample, you can sample. If you want to throw an 808s, you can throw an 808s.
Yeah.
You can have the hard hitting snare, vocals right up in your face. But then I also get the technical element where the mixing is always on point with regards to future bass. The synthesizers, the very, very heavy melodies, and then the drop. So just like in, big house tracks as well, there's always that drop that comes in. This particular genre also functions around that drop. So yeah, that's...
So apart from hip hop, this is what you really like?
Future bass, definitely future bass. I mean, there's other genres. I listen to a little bit of house.
R&B? I'm a piano.
I'm a piano. No, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's certain tracks where I can listen and I'm like, I can appreciate certain elements of it, but not everything's it's not gonna resonate with everybody. So
I understand that.
Exactly. Same with R&B as well. R&B, there's certain tracks where I'll be like, this is a dope track.
Yeah.
And I'll appreciate the musicality and I'll be like, this is a dope track, and I'll sing along. But others, I'm just like, it's not for me.
We hear that. We hear that, right?
Yeah.
So according to all the songs that you got to produce or just engineer, which one can you say, this one, they really changed my life and this one is really my favorite? If you got one.
A track that I can say changed my life, and I can say it's probably my favorite track. It has to be, let's see now. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking Soaked in Bleach, and I have it by PdotO.
Yeah.
And there's the reason behind that is that the way in which that track came together, I think, was it was a happy mistake. That day, it was the story behind it. That day that we were supposed to record with P, I don't think he was meant to come into studio that day. He was meant to come in, do like a quick interview and then bounce. But prior to the interview, he said something along the lines of, I've got a lot on my chest. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Come through.
Let's work on something.
Let's work on something. He comes through and I'm just throwing some beats together. I'm throwing some sounds. And whatever I had loaded up, I left it. The guys came in, we conducted this interview, and at some point I hit play. I didn't even notice by accident. I hit play and he was like, yo, what the hell is that?
He liked that.
Yeah, and he was like, what the hell is that? At that point, I don't know what happened next, but then the interview ended. Those guys left, and it was just the two of us. He wrote the whole song. He wrote it in about 15 minutes.
What?
Yeah, it was fast.
How many minutes?
15,
15 minutes. Takes much time to write a song, but that one is really a classic. When you listen to it, you really get some goosebumps, and also emotionally, I really like the song and I really listen to it a lot. I really get to say maybe you got to write that song for like a month or 7 days or whatever, but just 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes, you believe that?
Even the mix took, I mixed it there while we finished the entire song. By about 11 o'clock that evening, we were done with the song. He was tired, I was tired. And even when I go back to listen to it now, I'm like, this is not a perfect mix. This is not the perfect song, but it's the perfect song.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Get it, yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it's my favorite track, by the sheer fact that it taught me that music doesn't always have to be perfect. You don't always have to
it's not about
calculate
everything. Calculate and all that. You don't have to do that.
Exactly.
It's all about the message and also being able to engage people. I believe it's all about that. And as for PdotO, I'd really get to say that he really do got away with the heart when he writes lyrics. He don't just say things, but they really come from the heart. That's what I really respect about him. So currently, do you have anything that you're busy with, like songs or whatever? Do you get something that you can list soon? Tell me something. Tell the people something.
Let's see. Sure, man. I'm working on a lot of projects. Let me see if I can pick one up. So I'm busy working with. Sure, I've got some production credits on there, I guess. Blaklez and PdotO. They've got
Lost Diamonds.
Lost Diamonds 2. I don't have a lot of production on it. I know at the moment it's they're busy trying to finalize a couple of things with it. It's I guess it's come together quite well. I've heard a few tracks from it, and I'm liking the direction that they've taken.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been working on that. Some of the other things that I've been working on, actually, some of my own personal projects. At the moment, I'm running obviously we're trying to run this studio.
Yeah.
But we've got collaborations in place now with a studio called The Library Somewhere, based in Pretoria.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so now what we're doing is we are almost like franchising.
Yeah.
In that I've got clients that live in PTA. He's got clients that live in Joburg. And we've got, like, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to take over that production market. We are trying to capitalize as much as we can. Under the umbrella that we'll create, we'll release that. And it'll be his studio, my studio. And then what we'll do as we move along is, as other people have their studios and we feel like, we can actually do work with you. Why shouldn't I be able to refer to a studio within my network, the guys in KZN, the guys in the Eastern Cape, the guys in even smaller places where we find that there's quality music being made, but they just need a little bit of a leg up. So yeah, that's one of the projects. The other project is my administrative business, where we basically assisting artists with registering with companies like Samro, Cassper Nyovest, Sampra. Yeah, that one's, I think we're probably moving close to our 70s in terms of how many people we've helped. I know 70 is not a big number, but that's 70 more people who will now be able to confidently say, I'm going to earn my royalties.
So for people who would like to purchase your beats or just wanted to mix these songs, so where could they find you?
Where can they find me? Well, they can hit me up. My number is literally everywhere.
Okay.
I'm sure you can even put it somewhere in the whatever. But Silasbeats on everything. So www.silasbeats.com. If you go there, you will literally be able to then go and find me on all my platforms. Silasbeats everywhere, from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter to everything. Literally, you just type in Silasbeats, you will be able to get a hold of me. Okay,
that's really great. So do you have any artist that you'd really like to work with? A famous artist?
Famous.
Yeah.
I would say I would really love to sit in studio with, even if I'm just quiet and in the back of the room, I'd really like to sit in studio with Timbaland. Either it's always been a toss up. It depends on what season it is. It's either Timbaland, Ryan Leslie, or Pharrell. It's always one of the three. I'd love to sit with them just because of the way they look at music, and what they've done for the industry. In terms of an artist in particular, I guess I'd like to work with someone along the lines of like a J. Cole, someone who dabbles on both sides. So with the J. Cole, you see how he produces, but he's also behind the mic. I'd like to sit there and see how someone of that level was able to get to that level
yeah.
doing both things.
So locally,
Yeah.
which one would you like to work with?
Locally,
Yeah.
Locally, I mean, obviously everybody would love a Blackie feature, but I mean that's obviously just because I feel like, you know, he's the flavor right now.
He's really the flavor. Yeah.
I have locally anyone. I think anyone. I just really want to make dope music. I'm trying to move away from, you know, just doing everything for everybody and just creating really nice music. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest artist.
Yeah.
It can be someone who really
want to do that.
Wants to do it. The craft is right. The mind is right. That's it. That's enough for me.
That's really something awesome. I do have one question for you. And this question will kind of be tricky.
Okay.
So between Nasty C and A-Reece, which one do you highly rate? This one, do you feel like, okay, this one really got it? I trust him behind the mics.
In terms of, we're talking
I'd
what?
say
lyrical ability.
Yeah.
I've always said Nasty has, when it comes to, I don't know, just the cleverness sometimes.
Yeah.
I know A-Reece has it as well. I'm not taking anything away from him, but in terms of what I can relate to between the two, I think it's not even by much. It's not even like 100-0. It's literally like 60-40. It's not, or like I can say 55-45. They really, in my book, I put them quite close to one another. But for me, Nasty just edges it just slightly.
Nasty, okay. You had that. Nasty C really got it. According to Silasbeats, Nasty C is the man. And it's really such an awesome time that we had right here with the legendary Silasbeats. So you've heard from the legendary Silasbeats. Man, it's really such an awesome time that we had right here. And this is actually the second episode right here on Kidsoul SA. I'm really coming with more episodes, more vibe, more zest, and more honesty. Man, it's the one and only most zestful, the village boy popping, the one and only Hollywood star. But before we go, make sure that you do like the video and also subscribe on the channel. It's the most zestful.